Hello, everyone.
Everyone.
Hi, Mary.
Hey, Sam. So I think we're going to give an extra 1 or 2 minutes to let everyone come in. We're seeing a lot of people joining. So we're going to get started in about 2 minutes.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. So Sam, I think 1 more minute I'm seeing still some people coming in.
Yeah, it should be good. 1 more minute.
Hi, Sutta.
Hello, Marilu. Hi, Sam. Thanks a lot for organizing this.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Always.
Okay, so good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everyone. Welcome to another WordPress community team training. Today, we are so glad to have Mary Lou with us from meetup.com to host and to conduct this session. I will be posting a feedback form at the end of this session. Please help me to submit that feedback form about this training. So without further ado, I would like to invite Mary Lou to host the session.
Thank you, Sam. Hi, everyone. So yeah, super excited to be with you today. So we're going to focus, what I want to share with you is tips around boosting event engagement. So I know one of the big challenge for organizers is driving members to go from the RSVP to an actual attendee and engaged member part of your community. So before we get started, so we're recording this video, so we're going to be able to share it. If you don't want to appear, you can turn off your video, and this way you won't be there, but more than happy to see your faces too. I've muted everyone just to make sure that we can hear the presentation, but definitely want to hear your questions. I think it's a very interesting and engaging topic, so really I'm excited to hear all your questions and also maybe additional tips that you may have if there's more advanced organizers during the call. So feel free to use the Q&A, and we have some time at the end where we can cover that. And I saw that someone turned on the closed captioning, so that's available to you as well. So for the agenda today, I'm just going to get started with a quick introduction about myself. Then we're going to dive into the topic and go over a few sections. And then, as I mentioned, we have a full Q&A at the end. So my name is Marie-Lou Gauthier. I'm the head of customer success at Meetup. I'm typically based in Montreal, and I've lived in New York before, but I love traveling. So I'm currently in Buenos Aires, Argentina. I've been at Meetup for over 6 years, and my primary focus has been to support businesses, helping them to build and scale community programs. And I've been working closely with the WordPress community team. And I'm myself an organizer. I'm a co-leader for our employee resource group called Women of Meetup. And yeah, I'm passionate about food and travels, which is why I'm here in Buenos Aires, enjoying a lot of good meat and empanadas. And I've left my LinkedIn, would love to connect with all of you. All right, so let's get in. So when we think about engagement, there's a few things that, you know, as an organizer, you can think about. And I think the best way of also thinking about this is starting to think about a whole communication plan for your group. And part of that communication plan is a few things that you can start mapping out to really think about the entire experience for a member from the moment they see your group and are, you know, considering joining your community to then their first action of joining, RSVPing, coming to an event, and hopefully coming back to their next event. So thinking about all the steps where, you know, you're going to be engaging with this member, and start thinking about what, as an organizer and ideally as a team, which we're going to cover later, what experience you want to provide to that person. And that will be, you know, and think to be as intentional as possible in each of those steps. And that will really help drive people to be more engaged and to actually show up over and over to your events. So the first one is, I think the first step when you think about this is the first impression of members joining your group. So setting clear expectations about what you want from members. So this can be you know, shared through your group description, and you can also use the welcome message to already set guidelines, and especially around attendance. And we even see organizers will have already in their group, will have a clear like policy about no-shows or like lack of attendance would lead to eventually removal from the group. It may sound kind of intense to already said that, but I think it's a good way to show how important it is for you, for members when they join, to participate. So I'm going to share some tools that you can use to eventually manage that. Up to you to decide what, you know, to what level you want enforce those type of guidelines. But I think already expressing how important it is that you want people to be engaged, you want them to show up, you want them to follow, you know, rules. If they RSVP to an event and they no longer are able to join, you know, by respect to the event host to change the RSVP. So really make it a really welcoming message, and also already kind of setting the table, explaining any type of guidelines that you want to enforce within your community. Another thing a tip that we've heard from organizers, where, you know, this idea of removing a member can be seen also as kind of an action to maybe get them to kind of wake up in a way, and it can be a way of reaching out to them, and a moment where you can even bring this up of, you know, you've joined the group and I've seen maybe you RSVP a few times and you haven't showed up. You know, you can then reach out to them and be, well, maybe it sounds like this is not a good time, but here's my group. You know, for now, like, I want members to be really engaged with me, but we'd love to see you again. So like, if you if it's ever like a good time for you to rejoin, here's my group and we'll be so welcome to see you. So again, maybe like something that is something that you maybe not have the time to do, but especially if someone keeps on RSVPing all the time and they never like show up, to do this type of thing may just show them that you're very serious about your group and you actually want to see them join, and we'll send them a message that that's important, and maybe we'll give them the extra push to actually stop just saving your event by RSVPing and actually take a next step and join the community, because they're going to see how committed you are by reaching out and taking this step. So again, something that we've heard organizers have tried and I've seen successful. Up to you to decide. Those are all tools that I share, and up to you to decide which one you're interested in trying or testing. So I want to touch on, there's various ways of communicating with members. So I want to share a few with you today, which I imagine you may be familiar with, but sometimes just a good reminder that it exists. So the first one is sending a group-wide emails to your members. So communicating with your members, frequently and ideally in between events is always a best way of keeping them engaged. And it can be to share important information, but it can also be used as a way to set up more personalized reminders about events or any type of activity or something important happening for your group. So like Meetup will send event reminders. We have everything automated, but sending a personalized message to your group with maybe some a very exciting agenda for like an event coming up, reminding them of like something like exciting happening that you're going to be discussing, anything you can add that is more personalized, that obviously with the automated reminder from Meetup, the member wouldn't get. So try to think like, how can you in between events engage with members and get them super excited about the events. You also have different filters, as you can see from that picture, right? So one other way as well is to create more like curated messages for different sets of members. So for members who are already RSVP'd, you can send a message that is more, telling them that you're excited to see them. It's going to be such a good session. Looking forward to seeing you. Members who maybe have not responded yet, that can be a good moment to remind them, hey, don't forget, this is coming up. We hope that you're going to be able to make it. So also, again, as much personalization as you can add, members are going to feel that you care, that you're there, that you're engaged, and that will help them, help get them to show up to the events. There's also something called a mailing list. So that's something that you can create for your group. It's available in your settings for your group. You can, once you enable that option, you can start having email chain conversations with group members. This is something that is more, it goes both ways. So the contact member tools is an email that you send out in just one way. The mailing list you can set it up in a way that members can respond to each other. So a different type of, again, way of communicating with your members. So up to you to decide which one you want to set for your community. And again, the key is always thinking what you're able to do based on your time, based on the team that you have. And what I recommend is, once you've set up tasks that you feel like this fits with our community, this is what we want to do, kind of map out like what you're going to do before each event. And make sure that you get to those tasks that you've built. You can also prepare templates, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel for each event. So having already templates that you're going to send before each event, and then you just need to personalize each time, can make sure that you will add that personal touch in the most effective way. Another way of communicating with members are direct messages. So I find that direct messages can be a really nice touch. Again, if you have a big group with a lot of people, always depends on the time that you have to devote to this, but especially for new members. So, if you see from your list that you have a first-time comer, sending a personal touch to that specific member when it's the first time coming. We all know it's a little stressful to go to an event for the first time. I actually attended an event here last week, and I didn't know the group, and it was in person. I felt a little stressed. It reminded me, like it takes a lot to go and meet strangers. So if you do have the time and the bandwidth to send an extra welcome message to let the person know, hey, I'm so excited, it's going to be your first time joining us. I'll be there, come say hi when you arrive at the event, or just a little note, even if it's online, to just show the person some warmth, welcoming, so it will make their experience better once they come to the event. And then that can also be, you can use the same tactic for after people coming. So if it was the first time for someone to come, to thank them personally for coming, that you hope that they're going to join your next event, and you can share share the link. It could be if you have a really engaging conversation with one of your members, take that extra step to send them a message to thank them for that. All those personal touch can go a long way of making your members feel really appreciated, really like a sense of belonging, and then they can become your next super engaged members and champion. Another tool that you have is called group discussions. So that can also be another way of creating some exchange amongst members in between events. So this is great if you want to seek some ideas from your members, so you can poll them about maybe topics that they want to cover. So this is something that is that you can manage as the organizer to allow members to start conversation. Or if you want to make sure that you have some sort of control, you can also select a setting where you as the organizer is the only one that can start the discussion, and then members can engage from there. So again, another tool that I think you can become pretty creative, and that just gives some space for members as well to connect with each other. Again, kind of the goal is always to create that space and sense of belonging for your members. Another tool that we've launched some time ago. I don't know if any of you have tried it yet. We'd love to hear your feedback, or if you have any questions, let me know. So it's called the event chat. So now you have the ability to basically choose for an event whether you want to have comments, or you can also enable a chat. So the idea with the chat is the ability to connect in real time, kind of before, during, and after the event. We have some cool additional features there where you can share photos and files and reactions. So kind of the idea of, again, creating a bit more of connection, amongst the attendees, and can be pretty useful if you're hosting in person. If there's last minute, kind of like finding a room or the location or any type of information about the event, that can be a helpful tool to use. So another tool that we have, and that I think is something, again, it takes a little extra time, but I think it has a lot of advantage of using, is the attendee manager. So you can, it can help you ensure that you have stats about the different members. So you can see, as here, like Jake is his first event. So before the event, you can kind of track information about the state of each of your members. So as I mentioned, that can be a way, of having a different approach to each of members based on where they are in their journey within your group. And then you can keep track over time as well of, your members' attendance, and you can also search and sort attendees, so play around with the attendee list that way. And the check-in is for you to actually in real time take attendance. So this is something that we have in the organizer app. And I think over time, keeping attendance, again, give you a few reasons why I think it's very useful. So first, identifying those people who may keep RSVPing and don't show up. That's something that you can indicate in the event check-in tool, so you can see who are consistently not showing up. And so if you do have some sort of policy around those shows, well, this will help you enforce it. And then over time, you can also see the type of attendance for each of your events. And that can help you decide, okay, maybe this time is not the best because typically when we host an event at this time, not getting as many RSVPs. So paying attention to the number of people that join your events and the type of events, the type of topic, the format. So there's a lot you can learn from attendance to your events. So making sure that you keep track of that over time will give you some good insights in the type of events to host, and also to help you just keep a better management of your members' experience. So if you haven't used Event Check-in and you're interested, I just added here a page for the organizer app. So feel free to, if you want, you can scan. I'm going to be sharing this presentation and the recording. So you can feel free to, you'll have it after, so you can also do it later. So as I mentioned, all the different, things that you can do to keep your group engaged, it's a lot of work. So, you all spend a lot of time, and it's really difficult to do that on your own. So I always encourage organizers to build a big leadership team. What we see at Meetup is groups with at least 3 organizers are the ones that are the most successful. It's first just easier to divide the heavy workload of what it takes to keep a group engaged. But there are plenty of other benefits as well of having 3 or more leaders. It will increase your flexibility and adaptability. There's so many things that happen in our lives, and having, more people who can take over, who can, if something comes up last minute, who can jump in and host if one of the organizer can't. You can also kind of get more of a sense of unity and shared goals, and encouraging members to, step up. And it can be at any stage. I think always making it open for members to take more space to, it could be to host one event to start with, right? So it doesn't need to be everyone is a co-organizer. We have here, I just reshared the entire list of all of our roles that we have available. You can even make one a person an event host for one event. So there's different levels of responsibility that people can take. So, encouraging them to step up, to try, I think is a good way to just ensure that over time, you're going to always have a good rotation of organizers. And it also will bring more diversity because we're all different. So we're, having multiple people in the team will ensure that you have different ideas coming up of events, of ways to host. So just overall, just ensuring like continuity, sustainability, diversity. It's just good positive of having more leaders. So highly recommend to keep at least three leaders at all times in your group. So that's the presentation that I have for you. I haven't paid attention to the chat, so I'd love to just take a look to see if there was any comments or questions. Let me see. I have one Q&A. Okay, how does the membership role impact a member being removed from the meetup chapter. If someone having a co-organizer role gets removed or leaves the meetup, do they receive the role automatically, or that needs to be manually assigned after they join back? Yes, so if you, that's a good question. So if you do remove a member, I believe the role will be removed as well. So it would mean that they, they're removed from the group, and that role that they used to have will no longer be attached. When they are, if you want to invite them to rejoin, then they would then need to be reassigned the role, which is pretty quick. And also a good thing is when they are reassigned the role, and there's already like kind of an automated pre-built message that you can just accept to send to let the person know that they're now being given a certain role. So I think that's good. It would just remind them once they rejoin, let them know that you've reassigned them the role of co-organizer. So then they're going to get notified by that, and just making sure that they know when they have their role back and they can take part of the group again. Thanks, Sam. Is it possible to send the feel free to rejoin message automatically? We don't have that function, but I love that idea. That's a great feature request. Not something now. It would really need to be done manually when you basically the idea that was shared from organizers. What they would do is they remove the person and then they send them a direct message. So it's not an automated message. It's really manually messaging the person, letting them know, hey, I've seen that you've been no-shows for 3 times. We have this policy, where anytime someone doesn't show up for 3 times, we remove them. I understand things happen in life. If you're ever want to rejoin our community when it's a good time for you to participate, would love to see you with the link of the group. But that's kind of more like a manual process. Let me see. All right, more questions here. Are there more email delivery statistics, delivered reads, opens, clicks available? Only stats I can find is the amount of active members that view the group page when logged in. Is it on the roadmap? Yeah. And I have suspicion most emails don't even end up in the mailboxes of members being read. So yeah, great question. It's actually something that we don't have on the roadmap just yet per se, but it is one of the projects that our team is looking into. So maybe something that more in the second half of the year. It's kind of at the top of the projects that we feel like we could pick up and it would bring a lot of value. So I will definitely bring this back to the team to show like another, to share another person interested in that. I've got a lot of feedback around getting more transparency around the delivery of emails. So thank you for asking. I'll definitely share with the team. I totally get it. If you send out message to just get a sense of, again, even like similar to events, to just the type of message that also to know that members read. So let's say if you even have a good newsletter, it would be good to see, are people actually reading it to kind of justify you preparing that every month. So I totally see the need here. Yeah, I'll bring this back to the team for sure. In terms of suspicion about emails not getting to mailboxes, so there could be some reasons why members don't get your messages. So if there's ever a member saying, hey, I'm not getting your emails, what I recommend is to have this member reach out to our support team. The settings on Meetup it's not always easy to get to because they're very detailed, which is good, but I know some members get confused by how to set up their email settings, because there's some general ones, and then you also have the settings specifically for each of your group. And some members, once they start getting a lot of members, just don't even realize that they turn off emails for everything, and they don't realize that means emails as well for, from their groups that they actually want to hear about. So what I recommend, if some members tell you they don't get the emails, to just reach out to the support team, and they're going to be able to troubleshoot with that member and just make sure that they're able to get your messages in the future. Right, I'm not seeing questions in the Q&A, but I'm going to see if there are more in the chat. Okay. How can we send an email to all members of our meetup group as a co-organizer? Yes, great. So actually I can show you that was one of the tools that I've shared. So there's two ways you can go about this. You can use the contact members tool. So on your group page, if you click on group settings, you're going to have one of the first option would say contact members. So once you click on this, you'll see this similar option here. So you can basically select all members subscribed to organizer messages, and you can send a message that way. So what this will do is it would send a message. So it's going to be sent from Meetup, and all the members will get an email in their inbox on the email tied to their Meetup account, and they're going to get your message that way. There's also something called an announcement list. So under your optional settings, again, from your group settings, if you go that on that section, you're going to see something called optional settings. So from there, you're going to see something called announcement list. So that's another route you can take to send an email. To that way, what you do is you would use your own email service provider. So let's say I use Gmail. So from Gmail, I can use that one list. So it's going to show up, let's say something like this here, the meetup group. So you have, each group has their own announcement list. It's something that you can customize also, by the way. So if you don't want, typically it comes with a number of a combination of letters. So if you want to have something that is easier to remember, you can change it. So you could basically email that one email from your Gmail, and that will send an email as well to all your members. So those are the two main tools that you have as a co-organizer to be able to send that out. Okay, I'm seeing for the organizer app, yes. So I think if you want to scan the right here, you should be able to get to it. I think that might be the easiest way. So I'm just going to leave the screen on this for now, and let me know if that works. I don't know if I okay. I don't think I'm seeing anything else. I don't know if I'm missing. Okay, Patricia, there are two places for discussion, the old and the new. I know it has been confusing for some people. Any word on that? So just to clarify, so that would be the discussion board for the group, I imagine. So we do have the new space directly on the group page, which is the new discussion tool. And then I think you're referring to the discussion board, which is on the old, quite previous experience. I haven't heard, I'm not aware if this will be, if the old discussion board, if we have any plan to remove it. It's a good question. I know our team is still, removing kind of some of that old experience that you're seeing on certain pages, and it's an ongoing work, but I'm not sure about the exact timeline to get to that old discussion board. I'm happy to take note of it, and I'll let the community know, and I can get back to you with whether there's anything, any plan on removing that soon. I see. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Patricia. Just reading your comment. Awesome. I will yeah, I'm taking note of it, and I'll make sure to follow up with the community team so that they can share back the response on this. Great. I don't know if the person, I think it was Arpit, I don't know if you were able to download the organizer app. I hope that the link helped here. Perfect, great. And I'm still scrolling through. I don't think there are more questions. Or if there's anything that people want to share too. I don't know if I'm sure there's probably other very experienced organizers on the call. So if anyone wants to share something else too, feel free to share.
Yeah, I think the microphone is on now, so you can unmute yourself. And if you have any comment or you want to share, go ahead.
I just popped a question in there. Just something that I noticed. I love that there's this new feature for adding a speaker to a meetup. I don't know how long it's been there. Our meetup's been dead for a little while, and we're just starting to revamp it now. But frustratingly, it says that you only need an image of like 100 pixels or something, but it forces you to use one that's at least 1200 pixels wide when you actually go to upload the image. And like, I don't know about you guys, but I don't have any speakers that will give me a 1200 pixel wide headshot. I have enough trouble finding one that's got like not a grainy picture on LinkedIn. So it's basically impossible to use it, which is like disappointing. Do you know if that's something that has been flagged already?
Not that I personally know, but I will definitely bring this up to the team. Thank you for flagging. Yeah, it's I also love that feature and definitely want to make sure that you can use it. So I'll talk to the team to let them know and see what we can do to improve that. And then sometimes the featured image, so the actual event, so Rogers just shared the featured image won't upload. Yeah, if there are any, that sounds like maybe a bug, or like, that would be good. I actually have a slide. Any type of bug like this, you can actually feel free to, let the community team know, and I'm happy to let our team know. But there's also just wanted to be share if you run into any like issues, we always appreciate when organizers can report them to us so that we can fix them. So I just added here, there's a link directly. So if you see anything that seems like a bug, and you have the time to report it, that's always a huge help so that we can fix it. So thank you. Okay, is there any plan to have more than 500 characters in the event description? Often we need to write in 2 languages here and once. That's a good, I get how if you need to translate into different languages, you probably need extra characters. One thing I want to share is our algorithm. Sorry, this word is a little difficult for me to say. My first language is French, so certain words in English are harder. The algorithm of Meetup doesn't like really long event descriptions. And so I would say in general, I recommend being as succinct as possible in the way that you describe your events, because that will help get your event higher in the search results. So that's just a little SEO hack on the platform. But that being said, I do understand that, if you do want to have a description in 2 languages, then you may need extra space. So yeah, I'm happy to bring this to the team and to share this feedback. I really like that. The idea of having a multi-language tabs. I think that would be actually really cool to have. Okay, I'm taking notes of those suggestions. Thank you. And I see the example that you described is also because there are several speakers. And so this is something that we also have, again, I don't have a specific timeline. We haven't picked up officially the project, but it's on our list to add more speakers, because we realized a lot of, when we launched the feature, we were curious if people would start using it, but now it's actually been highly adopted. So we do have a plan of adding more speaker to basically allow more speakers within that feature. So I think that would also solve that problem where now you need to, add like all this information about the bio and information and links. So thank you for actually giving some context around why you're running out of characters. That makes sense. And I think we can probably, a way of solving this would probably be to actually, just add more spaces for more speakers.
I see Rogers, you raised hand. You have a question?
Oh, yes.
Yes, thank you very much for the session. And I've also just installed the Meetup Organizer app, and I'm really liking it. It's going to make life simple. Now, I don't know if there is, you see, the WordPress community is really using Meetup a lot here. Is there a way, do we have a plugin? Because I see when we put up an event, it appears in the dashboard, in the admin dashboard. But what if I want these events to feature on maybe the blog? Like for us, we have a community blog. Is there a plugin, a WordPress plugin for Meetup, such that it doesn't only show in the dashboard? I can configure these events. The moment I schedule on Meetup, it also displays on maybe the blog, or if there was a way of even managing the events from the WordPress dashboard. And so I don't know if there's any plugin integration for WordPress. Thank you.
Do you have the answer to this, Marilu?
I don't know. I was going to say, I don't know if on the WordPress side,
I kind of do. So I can probably actually take this one because I submitted a GitHub issue about it like a day ago after going down
perfect.
a rabbit
Thank you.
hole. There was a Meetup plugin. Like there was a block. Sorry, not a plugin. There was a block, like a Gutenberg block for embedding your Meetup calendar onto your blog post or whatever it was. But Meetup then deprecated the API that it was using, and so that block doesn't work anymore. And there is no currently like plugins supported for it. So it's something that's kind of like way down on a roadmap, but at the moment there is no like Meetup block. So maybe that's something that Meetup could look at, like getting that API back up and running for us so that we can do something with it. Because there was a block and it had to be removed from the block list.
So thank you for bringing this
yes
up.
and no.
we do still have an API. What happened is we, as a company, we switched from REST to GraphQL. I think a year ago, and that was just because now it's helping us build faster and better features. So we made the switch, and we actually worked with the community team and some engineers at WordPress when that switch happened. But I imagine maybe that was something that kind of got, forgotten, or like maybe people didn't realize that it was still using the old API. So I don't know who I can partner with on this, but we do have a new API available, and so I'm sure we can just rebuild that. I just probably needs to be reconnected now to our new official GraphQL API. So maybe I don't know who I can follow up with on this to make sure that the WordPress team has all the information and the support they need to do that.
Yeah, I think there is like a GitHub issue about like when it was originally removed and stuff like that. So I think, yeah, it probably does like need to be recoded. I'm not sure whether it's like on a roadmap anywhere though. So I can probably ask like one of our community members who works for he heads up the block editor team. So they kind of roll out the new blocks and stuff. So I can probably have a chat with them, unless you know someone, Sam, who would be a good person to ask about that. Sam's gone. No, okay. Cool.
I don't know actually.
Okay.
I'll find out if they can.
Yeah, because I know that like with the new one, like even the iCal links, like you can't put them into, like you can't synchronize the iCal. You can only import the iCal. I went down a rabbit hole of trying this for several hours the other day, and it's like basically impossible to have like a live synchronization of it. You've got to like download the iCal link and then just like re-download it and stuff. So if you like plug it in, like most iCal links, if you plug them in to a like calendar or something, it will just automatically sync it. So if anyone else has got that working, that knows how I can do that, then please share, because it's been driving me insane trying to figure out how to do it.
That's a good point. I'll try to play around later today.
Because there is an iCal plugin that you can use where you just plug in an iCal link, and then that will automatically display color on the page, which seemed like a really good hack of how we could do it without having the Meetup block. But the iCal link didn't work either. So I ran out of options. I'm sorry, Roger. Rogers, I don't have a better answer for you than that one.
I mean, so let me know. I'm happy to, if anyone needs to connect with our engineering team, I'm happy to schedule like a quick sync to just make sure that you guys have what you need. Right. Okay. So the Slack channel, that would be so great to, yeah, that's unfortunate. So I'm so for that Slack, I I wonder if it's similarly when the transition to the new API, maybe something needs to be reset. So for that too, I'm more than happy to, help provide the connection or, the coordinate the discussion with our engineering team and someone from the WordPress team. Okay. The old method no longer work. Okay. So could be interesting to maybe just put together those and since it's pulling events, I imagine it's probably a similar API endpoint. So once it's figured out for one, I imagine it would be fairly simple for the other. So I also have just a couple more things that I wanted to share. So while we look for the additional context for that, the Slack integration, if you aren't yet a member of our Discord community, so we started this organizer community on Discord some time ago. It's been growing and growing, and we also have a mentorship program. So we have successful organizers who we work with, who are in the Discord, responding to questions, sharing some of their own success tips, and so highly recommend joining. It's really good community. We also we have a person from Meetup who is in there who can also help you, and she her name is Lara, and she always shares information about events and opportunities and things coming up. So join us. It's a good community. And then just another resource that I really love is our Keep Connected podcast. If you're not familiar, highly recommend checking it out. So our CEO meets with various community builders and thought leaders and in the community space. Really great conversation, and I always feel very inspired after each episode. And I think those were the last ones. I also shared with the community team. So you may see them invite in one of the communication, and I forgot to add it to this slide, but we have an organizer workshop coming up also in a couple of weeks. So I'll find the information. It's on our Meetup Live group, and it's basically the ability to join a workshop where you can meet other organizers and exchange on different topics. So I'll make sure to share that as well. I saw it came out and I forgot to incorporate in this slide, but yeah, I'll share the information to make sure that you have it.
All right. Thank you so much, Mary Lou. Can we take a group photo? So can you stop sharing? So if everyone,
Yes.
if you have your camera, feel free to turn it on. So you can just make a quick snap. And we'll have the second session at 21 hours UTC. You can find the time on our Slack or on our blog post about this training. Feel free to share with anyone that might be interested to join the second session later today. All right, so here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay. One more. 1, 2, go. All right, thank you, everyone. I just put in the link for the evaluation form in the chat. Please click on the link and fill up that form. See you on the next session or on the next month training. Thank you so much, Mary Lou. Again, thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.